The first Librem 5 prototypes have started shipping. If you're just dying to have an early batch phone, take a deep breath and relax. They're pretty rare for one, and the software is now just becoming usable. Evergreen, or Q2 2020, is when they'll be available in mass. Stick around to the end of the video to find out how you can get a free Librem 5. That's right, I'm doing a giveaway thing. It's still early days for the Librem 5. It looks like the camera, video output, and call routing will need more development before it's fully working and integrated into the OS. But I don't see how this is any different than when they shipped the dev kits with non-functional screens. That turned out just fine. Plus, the Librem 5 has a much better upgrade mechanic than Android. Once Purism fixes something, they can push the fix directly to a repo and you can upgrade just the needed components, whereas Android would have to do a full system upgrade to change anything core. I don't think calling will take long to fix, and I bet it has something to do with this bug, but I'm only guessing that the two are related. If they are, then perhaps they've disabled the audio until they can correct for some distortion.
Hello, this is Bob. This audio is being recorded to the modem's PCM interface.
Okay, so calls is a work in progress, but what about a software solution? After installing Mumble and Qt Wayland 5, which might be useful to include by default, the Mumble UI started up. It could definitely use a bit of optimization though. But I was able to successfully connect to a server. Unfortunately, the audio quality was... oops. You'll want to make sure that hardware switch is enabled.
What?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed I can.
I'm recording this conversation, just so you know, officer.
Oh, good. Well, this is the Librem 5 dev kit.
And it is working, and we have voice chat over TCP/IP. Actually, it may be UDP/IP, but we have voice chat over Mumble, not telephony right now.
Yep, Mumble works great on the dev kit.
So, at the very least, you'll be able to chat with anyone you can convince to connect to a Mumble server. When it came time to flash the dev kit, we found that the old version of UUU no longer worked. This forced us to recompile a new version of UUU. If you're on Debian, you might be able to get away with just upgrading the UUU package. Post-reflash, it's nice to see that the usage app is included by default. I quite like the way that it visualizes which directories are eating up all your data. Connecting to Wi-Fi works without issue, as long as that hardware switch is enabled. And it eliminates the need for me to have to run an Ethernet cord, so that's quite convenient. Taking a look at the browser, it seems usable. You can get around and find whatever you might want to look up. For example, this is a Librem 5 hack session from Wade's point of view. I really do appreciate his work, and he's been hosting the Librem 5 hack sessions, which is where I've been getting most of my footage, and takes place every 2 weeks. So, big shout out and thanks to Wade. On the heavier pages, you might be better off with a dedicated GTK application, but possibly more development time will make this smooth in the browser. I also gave Firefox a go. It installed just fine, and scrolling works if you can manage to hit that tiny scroll bar. A simple config tweak in Firefox would allow for touch scrolling, but unfortunately the input doesn't map correctly, so the keyboard is just like inputting random crap. Up until now, the power or lock button didn't do much unless you held it down, but now it locks the screen. Unlocking the screen seems to struggle. I messed around with this for a bit just because it was entertaining. I was kind of hoping that if I locked and unlocked it enough times that the screen would eventually reline up, but this does not seem to be the case. A reboot or restarting Fosh was needed in order to correct the issue. Talk about a colorful bug. It'd be interesting to know if this affects the Librem 5 phone as well as the dev kit. The keyboard has more options. You can add other languages in the settings and then switch between them in the keyboard. I think a USA terminal layout would be nice, something with tab and control. Initially, the store page did not populate, but once I ran apt-get update in a terminal, it did populate just fine. I also ran into a weird bug where if you've told it to install an app and then you hit cancel, it assumes that the package is installed but cannot uninstall or reinstall the package. But if it does get in this weird state, you can just apt install whatever in a terminal. As for app development, I did see an interesting behavior in Fosh. If your window size becomes too big, parts of the screen will get cut off, but once the screen can be resized back down, it does. On the desktop, if it becomes too big, the app will stay big until manually resized. I just thought this was some cool self-correcting behavior. So when shipping batches got announced, impatience got the better of me and I bought a second Librem 5 from Handle. Turns out both of the devices will be in Evergreen, so I'm giving one away to this fine community. To enter the Librem 5 giveaway, leave a comment below of how you would use the Librem 5 if you had one. Then I'll assign it a number of entries based on how cool the idea is. As long as you plan to use the Librem 5, you'll get at least one entry in the giveaway. In the end, I'll use some sort of random program to pull a winner. Come Q2 2020, I expect the device will feel a lot smoother and finally be ready to take its place as a primary device. Thanks for watching. Bye.